Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. A quick little version here of Mean Streets. We only have 2 games on the ice, but I have a couple NHL props and picks I wanted to share with you guys and a couple around the diamond in Major League Baseball as well. Tomorrow we'll be live, Mean Streets, I think noon, maybe 1 Eastern, and going to break down everything from the NFL draft. I'm going to share my big takeaways from the NFL draft, some winners, some losers, and really an early look. I'm pretty much just finished my redraft and rookie only rankings. So I wanted to share those with you guys as well. So heavy NFL show tomorrow. Of course, Dango Batselli will be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow with myself and Eric Young. 4 games on the slate tomorrow in the NHL. Congratulations, Rangers, with the sweep. I want to talk about tonight. So 2 games, no surprise. I'm going to talk to you guys about Wyatt Johnson. The NHL shot props are now officially juiced, right? We got Adrian Kempe yesterday, moved up to 3.5. He did let us down. He's been good to us for the most part, but a lot of these players that we've been targeting, a little bit too juiced to take as a single. May have to put him into a parlay. This is where it does get a little tricky. But the 2 guys in particular that I really like tonight, of course, Wyatt Johnson. I'm not breaking any news here with Wyatt Johnson. I'm talking about Johnson now for, I don't know, a long time. Finally placed up on that top line. It took Pete DeBoer a while to get this guy going, not to get him going, but for one, they needed to shake up of the lines because they were down 0-2 heading into Vegas. He needed to shake up. Wyatt Johnson's their best player. On offense, he certainly is. I think their best player is Miro Heiskanen. But Wyatt Johnson's their best forward. Last year in the playoffs, he led the team in expected goals at 5-5, even though it was the top line, mostly Hintz and Pavelski and Robertson, who were balling out for them when they lost to the Golden Knights in the 3rd round of the Western Conference Finals. Wyatt Johnson's been fantastic here in the playoffs. He was placed up on that top line. He had a game-high 15 shot attempts and 8 shots in Game 3. Of course, he had 2 goals. He scored the overtime winner. He needs more ice time. He's getting it. Pavelski's a little bit slower in his career. I like the line juggling that happened for everybody. Sagan got going a little bit with Pavelski. Duchesne looked good with Stankoven and Ben. So it just looked like a nice move by Pete DeBoer. But Johnson in the playoffs leads Dallas with 27 shot attempts and 10 shots at 5-5 from natural stat trick. He has 32 attempts in total and 12 shots at all strengths, which also leads the team. As for Sam Reinhart, you can see here, Wyatt Johnson minus 165 is the best price I'm seeing at Bet Rivers. Reinhart minus 157 I'm seeing best place at Bet Rivers. You can parlay them at plus 155 over at DraftKings. But Reinhart, same sort of deal. Been great all year. Leads the team in shot attempts at 5-5 with 22, and he has 13 at 5-5. And then 29 attempts total and 18 shots at all strengths also leads the team. So I'm including him in here. And I also like Wyatt Johnson to pick up the point, right? I mean, he's up on that top line. I think they should give him top power play time too. I'm not kidding, but it seems to be working out for them on the special teams anyways. But Wyatt Johnson to pick up a point, get 3 shots. And how about let's consider a ladder for Wyatt Johnson tonight? This is from Bet365, 4 shots at plus 140, 5 shots at plus 320, 6 shots at plus 650, and 10-1 for 7 shots tonight. Now, I don't think he's going to get 15 attempts and 8 shots again, but I think he could flirt with 8 or 9 attempts. So that's why we're going to take this. Love the placement on the top line. Maybe we get one of those double overtime games tonight between the Golden Knights and the Dallas Stars when we get there. And the key is to take this at Bet365. I'll read the fine print at DraftKings. I think this is good to go no matter how many overtimes you get tonight. But FanDuel does have the in 60 lines. So if the game goes to double overtime, you're not going to get anything outside of the first 3 periods there. So Wyatt Johnson is our guy most nights, and we're going back to him tonight. And again, a nice, I think Dallas got some confidence from that game, but I do expect a pushback from Vegas. So my favorite overall single in terms of pricing, like I like Johnson and I like Sam Reinhart to get 3 shots, but price is juiced. One of the best prices on the board here tonight, I believe, is Jack Eichel. Over 3.5 shots at minus 110 over at Bet Rivers. Like the other players we're talking about, leads his team in attempts with 16 and 9 shots at 5-5 through the 3 games, 23 attempts overall and 11 shots at all strengths. Man, he's such a fun player to watch, and his strength, I think, is underrated, how he can lean on players, and he's really hard to knock the puck off down low. Just his cycle game is on point. Of course, he does lead the team with 5 points. 65 minutes is his ice time here in this series, which is 10 more minutes than Mark Stone, who checks in next for roughly around 55, maybe 56. But Eichel is getting leaned on. And same with Dallas. The top 3 forwards are just what you would expect. Wyatt Johnson, Rupe Hintz, and Jason Robertson there. And same sort of deal with the Florida guys and Reinhart, Verhaeghe, and Kachuk and Barkov. Those guys are getting leaned on, especially with no Sam Reinhart. So back to another parlay of two guys that I like that are just slightly juiced here, like Verhaeghe and Reinhart, right? These guys I expect to get 3 shots tonight, just really juiced. I think the best price I was seeing from Verhaeghe's minus 175. We did already hit a future in this series for 3 goals at plus 140. He's been clutch, man. He's been clutch over the past couple of seasons. Fun revenge spot for him against Tampa, but he has been a really clutch performer in the playoffs over the past couple of years. 20 attempts, and he has the 20 shots at 5-5. Actually, 22 attempts and 20 shots at 5-5. Excuse me. 14 shots on 24 attempts at all strengths. It's third behind Reinhart and Kachuk, but he is second on the team in attempts and shots at 5-5. Very key statistic for me. 5-5. We'll get into that in a minute. Some players who could be traps for you. So we're riding with the parlays. We got Wyatt Johnson here and Sam Reinhart. We talked about Wyatt Johnson hitting the score sheet. Wyatt Johnson ladder over at Bet365. Carter Verhaeghe in here with Shea Theodore. Shea Theodore is the other guy I wanted to talk to you about. 1.5 shots, I think, is minus 190. It's just too silly. Plus 137 to parlay both of these guys at DraftKings. But Shea Theodore is a guy that really doesn't leave the ice. Now, they have a lot of great defenders, and they're leaning on Pietrangelo and Hanifin. Alec Martinez is back. I mean, the Golden Knights are going to be so tough to stop. That defense is just, it's phenomenal. I think it's the best defensive core in the league, and they block everything. Which is why we have to temper expectations with other guys on the Stars. But 18 attempts and 8 shots is second on the team in all strengths for Shea Theodore, and 15 attempts at 5-5, which is second on the team. That's very important to me. The 5-5 numbers. He can generate himself with his legs. He has lost his top spot on the power play, still getting some power play time, but also just generating at 5-5. And I'll go over to another defenseman in this series is doing the exact same thing. And we can take him as a single, Miro Heiskanen, over 2.5 shots at plus 110 over at DraftKings. So Miro has 23 attempts and 8 shots at 5-5, which is second on the team behind Wyatt Johnson. He has 25 attempts and 8 shots at 5-5. So he has the exact same amount of shots at 5-5 at all strengths. So he's producing, even though he's on that first power play, he's not really the shooter. They pass it to him on the point. They got Hintz on the left side. They got Robertson on the right side, and they put Ben in the bumper. But they have Heiskanen is a guy that is one. I mean, he's second in attempts behind Wyatt Johnson altogether. All of his shots have come at 5-5, but he's played 85 minutes already in the 3 games. 85 minutes in 3 games. It's 10 more than the next closest man in Dallas, and he is leading all players in ice time in the series. Thomas Harley is like 75-ish minutes. So Heiskanen on the ice a lot, and the guy is a freak. Another guy like Theodore, who can really move and skate and create on his own. So we're going to take the over 2.5 shots. I know I think he finished with 4 shots in game 3. He was active, and they need him to be active and try to generate some offense in the back end. One more single here that I like is Brayden Point at over 2.5 shots, minus 135 over at DraftKings. The whole Lightning squad was quiet at 5-5 until game 4. You look up and down their lineup. Kucherov has 4 shots in 4 games at 5-5. Hagel's got 4. Duclair has 4. Stamkos has 14 shots, but 9 of them have come on the power play. He only has 4 shots at 5-5. Brayden Point has 16 attempts and 6 shots at 5-5. The 16 attempts are second behind Kucherov, who has 17. But again, I just told you that he has 5 shots. I don't know if they're grading it a shot. Like, Kucherov loves this shot pass thing. I know he's had some chances. He's missed the net. We had him the other day in this parlay. We needed him for a couple shots. He had a big donut for us. 0. Thanks for that, Cooch. But the attempts, most part, come on the power play, and it's like a shot pass that he has. I mean, he looks for Stamkos across the ice. It's the bumper for Point. It's that shot pass thing. Of course, they got Hedman from the blue line. So I'd stay clear of maybe Kucherov here. Brayden Point is the guy. I mean, the other night he had 9 attempts, I think, in game 3, and none of them hit the net. So the attempts have at least been there for him. 25 attempts at all strengths. Does lead Tampa Bay, 10 shots. The 5-5 numbers at 16 attempts for him is just one behind Kucherov. A couple point parlays that I'm on the way out here. We got Carter Verhaeghe and Matthew Tkachuk plus 100 over at DraftKings. We have Jack Eichel and Jonathan Marchessault at plus 140 over at I think both of those are from Bet365, but you can do that over at DK. And then a fun little same game parlay here for you guys. I have a couple. You'll have to be subbed with us over at FTN to see those, but I do have a 500 to 1. Why not? Maybe we'll get 2 or 3 overtimes and have another one around 125 to 1. But this one is a little bit more doable at 14 to 1. Check out ftnfantasy.com/pricing to join the family. It's like $20 a month. You'll get all kinds of bets from everybody, projections, tools, all that good stuff. Any questions, hit me up. But I know some people are reaching out to me about picks. It's the best way to get them all the time. And you're going to get everything from everyone across all sports and tools. And the Discord is awesome. Same game parlay here. Jack Eichel, 3 shots. Johnson, 3 shots. Robertson, 3 shots. Marchessault, 3 shots. Then I got the defenseman there and Heiskanen and Theodore to 2 shots, and Tyler Seguin at 2 shots, who, by the way, I thought was very noticeable as well. I think he had 4 shots in game 3 and 6 or 7 attempts there. So the big boys stepped up for Dallas. It was a must-win situation. Vegas had a really good third period, but they came on really strong there. So 14-1 over at Bet365, like talking 0.25 units is something small, little sprinkle. Just like the ladders, the crazier you go, the more shots. You can ladder these like a ladder shot prop parlay. You can go Eichel and Johnson for 4, keep Robinson, Marchessault 3, maybe go Heiskanen and Theodore 3, Duchesne 2, or Duchesne 2, Seguin 2. You can add Hurdle, things like that. You can go as crazier you go, the smaller the wager. But you hit one of those, if you get a double overtime game, you hit one of those, you're going to profit for sure. On the way out, baseball here tonight. There's, I think, 12 games around the diamond. Article over at FTNFantasy.com breaking down my analysis of why I'm behind this pick, but why not share with you guys as well, since we're talking some picks and some props here. So the Phillies are cooking on offense, playing really good lately. They have 27 runs over a current 4-game winning streak. Now they start with the Halos, who have been awful all year and are giving up runs left, right, and center. And just dating back, like Philly, I know because I was on their totals earlier and they were just kind of stuck at 3 or 4 a couple times. But since April 19th, they have 63 runs, which is second in baseball behind Minnesota, who's cooking lately too. They have 66 runs. I wonder why Minnesota has 66 runs since April 19th. Oh, they just had a 3-game set against the Angels where they scored a ton of runs, and we saw Aaron Hicks pitch for the Halos. Long year in Anaheim. But second in baseball in runs behind Minnesota since April 19th is a span of 10 games. They've scored at least 5 runs in 10 of their last 12 games overall. Now they're going to see pitches from Griffin Canning today for the Halos. And he's coughed up 20 runs already on 30 hits, including 5 homers, and he's only pitched 24 innings. It's a very small sample size, but he's got a contact rate at 79% and a swinging strike percentage at 10%. Those are career worst marks for him. He'll probably be in the 11-12 swinging strike percentage range, and his contact rate will probably live in the mid-70s. But right now he's not getting a lot of swing and miss, and the Phillies have a bottom 10 K rate against righties. So just looking so far, left-handed bats have really given Griffin Canning some fits here. So lefties are slashing 333, 371, and a 587 the slug, and the WOB is 409 against Canning. 4 of the 5 homers he's allowed and 4 of the 6 doubles he's allowed have been against lefties. So a couple props to consider. So I'm on the Phillies to win the game at -141 over at Caesars, and I'm on the run total over 4.5 at -115 over at Bet365. But Bryce Harper's back now. Baby swag? I think he went back-to-back with a couple homers there. He's -110 for over 1.5 total bases over at DraftKings. Kyle Schwarber is over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Should lead off for the Phillies. He gets a hit. Maybe somebody brings him in. We already get there. -140, a little bit of juice there at DraftKings. Brandon Marsh, former Halo, having a really good season. Actually, all 3 of these guys have at least 5 homers against right-handed pitching. Harper's got 5, Schwarber's got 5, and I think Marsh has 6. But taking Marsh over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI at -120 should be in a good spot to drive in some runs. So we can get a hit, drive in somebody. Boom, that's a cash right there. So Harper, 2 bases, -110 DraftKings. Schwarber, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI, -140 DraftKings. Brandon Marsh, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI, -120. And maybe a little bit of a sprinkle on Harper home run at +265 over at Bet Rivers, along with the Phillies there. So we're all in on the Philadelphia Phillies. We're picking on the Halos here. So any questions at all, reach out at Chris Meaney. Good luck on the ice around the diamond, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.